Yeah, this is fine. Okay. Back at Jump King. Twice in one day. Crazy. Okay. Perfect. Excellent way to start. No complaints from me. They call it Jump King, but it's more like a Fall King, right? Ah, what a terrible joke. Okay, so the plan is, if I could be so bold. I mean, we're going to be playing this theoretically for a long time, right? 6 hours is a long time to have play Jump King. Right? 6 hours? Wait, no. Today we play EDF, right? Today's an EDF day. Shut up. Events. 8 p.m. So yeah, that is today. So we have 2 hours. Okay. I was trying to fill way more time than I actually had. So we were good. Jump King was a great answer. We should have just done Jump King from the beginning. Which honestly, it was tied for winning anyway. And this is the game that I could potentially actually beat. But if we had a lot more time, we actually could have done something else and used the time very efficiently. But I was dumb, so it's fine, actually. And I do kind of want to complete the other Supergiant games. We've done Hades completely on stream. I didn't get really close to beating any of the other, or completing any of the other games, but I'm pretty sure I could. Well, I don't know how bad some of them are as far as completion goes. I have completed Bastion before, I'm pretty sure. And I think I was close to doing Transistor, but maybe I didn't actually do Transistor. Pyre, I have no idea. I know I played Pyre exactly one time through before stream because I enjoyed it so much. It was such a beautiful story. I really, really, really love the story of Pyre in particular. I mean, I like all of the Supergiant games, to be fair, but Pyre has a special place in my heart for sure. So shouldn't you ride the Hades 2 hype, aka get it so I can watch? I think the early access is like free, maybe. Is that real? But no, I only play games when they're done. I only played Hades when it was finished, and I will only play Hades 2 when it's done. Until then, I do not pretend I do not see it. I don't care. I'm really not in love with the idea of them making a sequel game anyway. Like, in the history of the studio, this is their first sequel game. And I'm sure they're doing it partly out of, just being inspired and all that, right? It's not just because it was their most successful game, probably by a wide margin, right? But I don't know. Doesn't sit perfectly good with me. As long as we don't get a Hades 3, I think it'll be fine. But it depends. If Hades 2 blows my mind, it is like super innovative and impressive and great in a way that every other one of their games has been like very different, substantially different, then I guess it'll be fine. But I really doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Hades again. Serena says, I thought it was in 1.0 right now. I don't think so. Maybe. If it is, then we're definitely going to make some time to play that, actually, genuinely. Because, like I said, Supergiant isn't just one of, it is literally my favorite game dev at the moment. Has been for as long as Bungie has been shit. It's been Supergiant. I've always loved Supergiant, to be honest. As soon as I discovered Bastion in like fucking 2013 or whenever the fuck that was, I definitely loved that game. But that was their only game to me for a while. And then I played their next game, Transistor, and I loved that one very, very much. Transistor has easily one of the very best soundtracks of any video game, period. And it's competing with the other Supergiant games in that category as well. So it does a fantastic fucking job. Oh my god. I love Transistor soundtrack. And the game as well, of course. Pyre is very, very good. It's probably their best story as far as like just a story being told, right? Hades has probably the best characters, like character stories, if you want to look at it that way. And then Pyre probably has the best like overall narrative. Also the most unique gameplay. If you really liked Hades for the gameplay, then Bastion is literally the same game, basically. It's just not a roguelike, but otherwise it's basically the same game. The 1.0 for Hades came out literally 2 days ago, Hades 2. That would be why I didn't know about it, because it came out literally so frequently. It says Moonlighter is Digital Sun. Why did I think it was another Supergiant game? I don't know what Moonlighter is. The only Supergiant games that I am aware of, which I'm pretty sure I know about all of the ones in existence, are in order: Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, and then Hades. And now Hades 2, I guess, to be fair. For instance, someone gifted me Bastion on stream way back when. Bastion is very good. It's a little bit older, but it doesn't play like an old game. It plays fine. It plays like Hades. Hades is probably a little cleaner in some way. You know what I mean? I imagine that they improved the execution in some way that I just am not familiar. But I played through Bastion on stream, so it was within the last 2 years, right? And it was great. I had no problems with it. I've always loved it though, so like I'm not like a very reliable narrator when it comes to how, you know, critically analyzing the game. I just love it very dearly. It says I bought the OST since I didn't pay for the game. It was an amazing game. Yes, the OST is very, very good. Very, very, very good. It's always good for Supergiant games. If anything, I would say that like Hades probably has the weakest OST, to be honest. And it's not like it's a bad OST at all. It's great too. But In the Blood, I believe, is like the main track. And it's like, it's great, right? But like, it doesn't stir the fire in my spirit like anything from Pyre, anything from Transistor, anything from Bastion. I've listened to all of their soundtracks. I purchased all of their soundtracks as well, right? And I've listened to all of the music on all of their albums for probably hundreds of hours. Maybe not like tens of hundreds, maybe not thousands of hours, but probably over 100 hours, probably 200 or 300 hours of just Bastion or just Supergiant's music. I've definitely listened to them cover to cover, and it's like, I don't know, 3 hours of music or whatever. I've definitely listened to them dozens and dozens of times. But it's really hard to say how specifically many times I've heard them. I haven't heard Hades music like that, to be fair. I've heard Hades music. I played through the whole game, and I've listened to their soundtrack as well, but I only really finished beating Hades on stream. Like, I never played it off stream prior. So my experience with the Supergiant games is much more limited with regards to Hades. I say that, but Hades is also the only Supergiant game that I've 100% completed. So like, it's more limited in that I haven't played it for years. I only played it. You've seen the amount of Hades that I played. I think literally all of my Hades experience was on stream. I think. Screenwrite says I'll get it eventually. Yeah. I definitely like it. But I don't know. It's not like a huge deal. It's just, you know, it's my favorite, and it's always going to be my favorite dev. Well, I say that if they start making shit games, I guess they would not be. That's what happened with Bungie. But you know, for the time, right? Bungie was head and shoulders above the rest, and it wasn't close. Nowadays, same is true for Supergiant. Head and shoulders above the rest, and it's not close. But yeah, we'll probably play Hades pretty soon then. Probably gonna dedicate time to it rather than... Shit, we might play it tomorrow, to be honest. Because I was gonna start Persona tomorrow. But realistically, Hades is kind of more important to me. And the more time I can put into it, better. Shit. As far as like getting it done fast and all that. Not that I need to get through the game quickly or anything like that. But I happen to know that I enjoyed Hades the first time quite a lot. I would like to dedicate a good amount of time to it. And the Sunday stream is the most time that I have to play a game. So we only have GTFO on Sundays. It's the only thing stopping us from playing, something from 15 hours straight, basically. Which honestly is really, really good that we have things that are like preventing it from being a single game stream. If for no reason other than YouTube VODs only want to be at most 12 hours long, I believe, still. So even if I could stream for 15 hours straight, I wouldn't want to do like just a one VOD. Wow, that's unfortunate. That's what we call a slam dunk. So what are we doing? Hades 2. I also want to play Final Fantasy Tactics. I might bump that up in the schedule too, whenever that releases. I don't know if it's out already, but I know it's coming soon. Just because Final Fantasy Tactics is potentially going to be one of my favorite games of all time. It seems like a game that I'm going to love very, very dearly, but I never had the opportunity to play it, and it was console locked for the very longest time. It's coming. It's coming to Steam. Very, very soon, in fact. I mean, I said it might even be out already. It's Ed Cuddy. So yeah, if we can. Ed Cuddy says, how are the runs going? I don't know. It's not great, I guess. Because realistically, we could have already won this game, you know what I mean? But you can only fail so much as well. Like, I can't really realistically go lower than this, like, region here. So, it's in some ways just a matter of time. Just a matter of getting good. Hey, Cody says, you still haven't beaten this? Yeah, I still haven't. Not yet. Probably soon. Certainly not yet. I'm recording everything? Yeah, we're good. Am I like centered up? Be better, I guess, but it's fine. Okay, Cody says, God damn, get on it, man. I mean, I'm trying. You see me going, right? This is the game that I'm playing right now. You see me doing it right now. I can't be playing the game any more than I'm playing it right now. Hey, Cody says, what game were you talking about coming out soon? Final Fantasy Tactics. Which, despite the name, is much more Final Fantasy than it is Tactics, I would say, almost. Well, it depends how you look at it. It's definitely a tactical RPG, but it's also like a very grand narrative, a very Final Fantasy political narrative as well. But I don't know the game extremely well. I started it probably 10 years ago. I had to get like a ROM or whatever going because I didn't have a PlayStation 1 handy. And I don't know. I didn't quite bounce off of it because it wasn't like I had a bad time. It was a lot to set up. And I was a little bit torn of like, should I play just like the base game or should I play like this advanced difficulty mod that like the community seems to love that also has additional character classes in it and stuff. I just wasn't sure, you know? And I got like literally an hour maybe in and I was like, and I just ended up never playing it again. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have like a bad time or anything. I was just pretty conflicted about like what I should be doing. But now that there's like a regular official release, I'll just play the game straight up normal, which is what I like to do as well, generally, if I can. Play through the game, have a typical normal experience. I did turn up the difficulty in shit. I was supposed to full jump. What am I doing? What's that other older game that I'm playing? Okami? Is that it? No, As Libra. I'm playing on difficult rather than normal. I don't know if Okami has difficulties. I'm looking forward to beating that one too. I'm very excited to play basically every game that I'm playing, actually. This is the game that I care the least about, I think. Probably. Of the games that I'm playing right now, we're playing GTFO. And it's between GTFO and this one, actually, I guess. I don't know. GTFO is like a very cool game, but like it doesn't want you to fucking play it is the problem. Like that game fucking hates you. It fucking hates you actively. Like you have to master that game or don't fucking play it type shit. And it's like, it just doesn't need to be that serious. You know what I mean? It just doesn't need to be that serious. Not, and again, it's not like I hate it, but I do feel like it doesn't give a fuck about me or my time or anything like that. It's like, nah, man, you gotta, if you want to win, then fucking go win, go earn it. Which is similar to Dark Souls, except Dark Souls doesn't have, you know, a 2-hour trek in between bonfires. And every time that you fail to get to a bonfire, you literally gain nothing for your time. In fact, you technically lose things every time you make an attempt in the boosters. And it also requires you to have 3 other people to play the game with you. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel... It's like the opposite of a party game. You get 3 people together because they're going to sweat their balls off and achieve victory. Or suffer greatly. And there's just like no fun allowed type shit. And Jump King, like this game is fine. I don't know. I honestly don't feel too much like, I don't know. I don't feel like winning this game is going to feel like an accomplishment. I feel like I've already proven to myself that I can do this. Because the end of this game, I've seen the end, right? I've seen the final screen myself. I've gotten there. I didn't actually do it, obviously. But the last few jumps that are in this game that I didn't do successfully are not, to me, from what I saw, terribly difficult jumps. They're just other jumps that I have already done dozens and dozens and dozens of times, right? So to me, the only difference between this run and the run that I win is that I line up everything perfectly, which is to say that I've already like proven that I can do it. I don't really care anymore. It's just a matter of getting it done. And so much of this game is if you fuck up just barely enough, you lose all of your progress, right? It's like forgiving in some ways, but it's not. Like this game would be nothing if you could save state, basically is what I'm trying to say. It would literally be nothing, right? So with that in mind, I don't see a lot of value in the execution part of it, to be honest. It's just not for me. I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not interested in, you know, lining up the perfect RNG and skill and all that in order to have the perfect time on the leaderboard or whatever, right? So by virtue of that being so divorced from that perspective, I'm like, I really don't give a shit if I ever really beat this. I mean, I want to, just so that it's done on the stream. Like for the sake of posterity, mostly is what I'm doing this for the VOD. But, and also I don't like leaving games unfinished in general, to be honest. But I don't feel like I'm gonna feel accomplished is the difference, right? I don't feel like at least, like I don't feel terribly strongly about the like Maxscape situation, because that also felt like an inevitable end. Like we've been working at it for so long, like obviously we're gonna get there. I'm surprised that we got there as quickly as we did in some ways, but it's like it was bound to happen. And likewise, this feels like it's just bound to happen. Like at some point it's not like a skill execution thing in a lot of ways to me, right? Like I'm definitely getting better in some ways, but for the most part, it's not that I'm getting better. Really, it feels more like I'm just trying it enough, right? I'm just getting enough attempts at the end that eventually I like wired it in enough where it's like, yeah, my execution is good enough. So it is like still a skill-based game technically, but there's a certain amount of just like me fucking this up just like RNG. It's not really RNG, it's just like me being stupid or whatever. But like that isn't really an accomplishment to me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas like I feel like, you know, a lot of other execution of skill, this doesn't feel satisfying, I guess is what I'm trying to say ultimately. The thing that I like the most about this game is memorizing the routes, right? The optimal routes that are like perfectly safe type shit. And we've solved that, I think. I think there's literally no other optimizations left. I mean, we could probably be more optimal, right? But I'm saying like, as far as like progressing through the game, like consistently or whatever, like with literally no skill involved, just like do full jump to the right, do full jump to the right, right? There's no skill involved in those two jumps at all, which is why I failed the jump after. This is a full jump to the right as well, right? So with that in mind, I don't feel accomplished doing those, but like getting the map, getting the route sorted is nice. I do appreciate that, but there's no routing left. So it's all that's left is to just attempt the tower over and over again until we get it. And once we do, we will uninstall this game and then never think about it again, probably. At least with any luck, because there are, I think, 2 DLCs for this game, and neither of which I have any interest in playing, legit. But I don't know, it might happen one day, I guess. Anything can happen, and fuck. It is interesting. If I look at where I'm trying to jump, I have a lot more success jumping there for some reason. Fuck. I have to visualize success. I really appreciate how safe the church is, this church area, because it's like basically impossible to fall any further down. And it's also very consistent to get out of the church area, but it does make me feel like ultimately from like the tower, because I don't know, to me, I've proven that I can get through the church and I've proven that I can get through the blue ruins. So I honestly don't really care about the fact that I have to do this part again. It's just a time tax. It's just making it harder for me to execute the tower because I get less practice on the tower. But like, if someone played this game save stating after having mastered every realm, you know what I mean? Like, if they get through this, okay, let me give you an example, right? In Spelunky, right? In the game Spelunky, you can unlock a skip to the forest. That wasn't a full jump, I guess. Whoops. To the forest zone and to the fire zone or whatever, right? So that you don't have to play through the rest of the game. And the way that you unlock it is by grinding out the earlier levels enough, right? So that you can get enough materials so that the guy will give you a shortcut from the starting screen, right? If this game lets you teleport to the top of the blue ruins, right? This area, after you complete the blue ruins, I don't know, 1,000 times, right? You get all the way through to the tower 1,000 times. I wouldn't care if somebody used that because they've proven that they can very clearly fucking do it, right? I said 1,000 because that seems like a number that people would not really disagree with. Like, I haven't done it 1,000 times, right? But I've definitely gotten through here dozens of times. And I think that after a certain point, all that the blue ruins is doing, other than costing me time, is making it so that I have a harder and harder time learning the timings, learning the spacing for the tower, right? Because you need to do the jumps in a very consistent way in order to get through the tower, and it's very unforgiving, which is fine. But everything else, not everything else, most of the jumps in the church area are very, very consistent. And there's a few jumps that are very consistent in the blue ruins, right? So mastering the jumps that I have left definitely would help, right? It makes it so that it's more consistent to get to the tower. But I also don't feel like I'm, you know, popping off. I don't before, every time I cleared that jump that I just did, I would like, you know, pop off basically. It's like, yeah, I did it. We did it. Awesome. Now I don't give a shit, right? I've done it at least 100 times, right? I don't know, to be honest, but I imagine I've done it 100 times. So like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care about the blue runes. It's just a time waster that is on my way to the actual tower itself, right? And with that in mind, don't really give a shit about so much of the rest of the map. I mean, it's literally, the church is nothing at all, and the blue ruins are almost nothing at this point. It's just the way that I'm looking at it. It's like the amount of focus that I'm putting into this, the amount of my brain span. But like, even the tower, I'm not like paying attention to what's happening in the tower, because it's like, lock in for what? Like, I have to make this jump, right? And either I make the jump or I don't. It's funny, I keep failing at the blue ruins at that full jump for some reason. It's probably because I'm just not paying attention. But nonetheless, like, it's not like I'm trying harder to do the jump right. Like, there's no amount of effort or exertion that can happen. I'm just doing my best and hoping that it works out. Zero says that he has a daily Jump King fact for us. It is that you gotta jump. That sure is true. But yeah, I don't really know how to feel about the, like, I don't know. I'm sure that people, you know, Jump King purists would like hate the fact that you save state or whatever, but it just doesn't seem that big a deal to me. Because like, after a certain point, like how much I mean, but then again, if you're a speedrunner, right? Imagine that you finish this game, I don't know, 10,000 times, right? Trying to get top of the leaderboards. Should you be able to just, you know, skip to the tower with your best split, you know, your gold split to the bottom of the tower? Probably not, because that would be a segmented speed run at best, right? Which is like a legitimate speed run, to be clear, but it's probably not a legitimate way of doing a full game run. That's the thing, is like, but I'm also not a speedrunner, right? That's kind of where that's why I have the perspective that I do, because I'm not a speedrunner. Like, I don't give a shit about like a particular glory, you know what I'm saying? So like, if I feel like it would be fine, like I don't really give a shit. Zero says save stating should be the default for this game and have the option for zero states to be its own style of category. Maybe. I think that a lot of the point of this game, like from a reception perspective, is that everyone has exactly the same experience. But I could see the argument, right? I can see the line of reasoning, but I feel like most people who play this game really appreciate the simplicity and that it's a fully ubiquitous gameplay experience. No one has anything different going on. This is kind of like how Hollow Knight's Steel Soul run, where if you die once, that's the save deletes itself. Yeah, no, I understand. And it definitely could be just like a difficulty thing. What do I do here? Jump to the right? Sure. Like, not really, but sure. But yeah, this, to me, if there was save states just straight up in the game from the very beginning, it would be, it's like almost not a video game. Like, the worst part about System Shock 2 as well was the fact that you could just like save scum. And I think save scumming in this game takes a lot of the like interesting, a lot of what makes the game even like an experience. And in the same way, the mastery that you get from these zones really only comes along from having to do them over and over again. So I think I like the Spelunky answer a little bit better in that it's requires you to exhibit some level of mastery. But I don't know. I don't feel strongly about it either. I'm definitely not trying to, you know, make the game devs change the way that Jump King is after fucking 15 years or however long it's been. Zero says, I'm all for making a game more accessible for people of different skill levels if it doesn't negatively impact the game. That's true. Zero says, I haven't played Spelunky in ages. I've only played Spelunky a little bit. I watched the Jaywitz, shout out to Jaywitz, play Spelunky on his gaming channel so many fucking times though. I've seen so much gameplay. Spelunky. It was so good. Fucking loved. He's the only person I've really seen play Spelunky as well. I fucking loved Spelunky, but only because of him playing it. I think this is a full jump. So these are the last 3 jumps basically. 1, 2, 3. I did exactly the same thing, but I just overshot it completely. It sucks. But yeah. Zero says heartbroke watching that. That's exactly what happened last time. So I'm well acclimated to it, but just overshooting that. I think I overshot it last time. Maybe I undershot it last time. I hope I undershot it last time. That would be better, right? I kind of wish that I had on-screen game controls. You know what I'm saying? Like you could see me pressing inputs. I feel like that would be kind of cool. It would help with the experience, so you can see if I'm about to beef it like that. That was definitely me beefing it. I guess this is a full jump to the right. Sure is. It sure do. But yeah. The last 3 jumps, I think that they are a little different, but they're not like crazy, right? To me, landing those 3 jumps, I already feel like, you know, my chest. That was a hiccup. I already feel in my chest that landing those 3 jumps is not going to change my life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, woo, yeah, baby. I'm going to be like, thank God it's over. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm going to be like. I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, finally, Jesus. And then I'm going to uninstall this game. And I'm going to install Hades soon. Probably tonight, to be honest. Legit. Probably tonight. Zero says you beat it and you beat it and you're not like celebrating. You're like, okay, time to uninstall. 100%. 100%. Zero says that's the issue with these torturous style of games. Some people love it. Pikachu loves this shit. I think beating the game is the worst part for him, to be honest. The way that he conducts his stream is just different though. Like, he's principally there to have a conversation. He wants to talk through bullshit. The game is just like noise in the background. And so a lot of times when he's playing a game, especially a game that has too much story, that's too invasive, too distracting, he'll prevent himself from playing the game as much as he can by like running in circles or whatever, so that he can finish his thought, finish his voice. That's like the main thing from his stream, in my opinion, is like he's got a very, very strong voice. You definitely get a good idea of what he's like, in my opinion, having known him through the stream and nothing else, basically. Well, we talk sometimes off stream too, I guess, but you know, I don't know how much you can possibly know someone, but you know what I'm saying. You definitely get a very strong impression of what he's like, in my opinion. And I appreciate that for his stream. I think that I really like the way that he conducts his stream. I wish that I had such clear vision of what I'm like on stream. I do also feel like I want to be better at doing shout outs. And I think that part of the problem is that I'm too hung up on the shout out part of the shout out, when I should just do the shout out even if I don't type the fucking text. I think that's the hang up that I have, because like I don't want to put my fucking controller down to type /shout out. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it boils down to. It's like I just don't want to do that. But I can definitely be talking about the shout out like right now. I wouldn't mind that. Whoops. Keep doing that full jump. That's not a full jump. Zero says I'd classify your stream as informative. That's crazy. Zero says that's what mods are for, to do the shout out command. Sometimes. If I was not playing on gamepad, I would just do it myself. But I also sometimes I have to tab out of the game. Is the other thing. If I'm playing on keyboard and mouse and I don't have to if tabbing out of the game doesn't like fuck the game up in some way, then I would just do it myself every time. Not a problem. but sometimes it does fuck up stuff. Like, especially in like System Shock, older games, like it's not a good look. Zero says, if you're playing a Valve game, can't shout anyone out. That shit will crash the minute you alt tab. That's pretty funny. Classifying my stream as informative is pretty funny though. I never really thought about it that way. I do have a tag. What is it? Educational. And I do feel like the educational tag is like kind of accurate in some ways. It's not like strictly educational, right? But I feel like learning is like a major component of the stream, actually. And it probably is for like everyone, but I don't know. I feel like I'm literally like growing in real time as a person type shit on the stream. I feel like, I mean, and again, probably applies to everyone. Just feel like I have a lot more growing to do than most, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm not in a very good spot socially. Not that I'm like in a bad place or anything like that, but I feel like I could definitely use a lot more. I feel like my social acumen, my social prowess is sorely lacking relative to my peers, if you will. That's really what I mean. Fuck. Zero says it's somewhat accurate. Like 60% of the time it's goofy, and then 40% is actually discussing interesting topics and learning. Maybe something like that. I don't know. The bullshit matters too. Bullshit's definitely a large part of the stream. And I like it. I like the bullshit. I wouldn't get rid of the bullshit. I think it's important. I think the way that I've described myself, but also the stream, is I take the shit that doesn't matter too seriously. I'm your number one guy for taking something that doesn't matter too seriously. Maybe not your number one guy. Maybe we got a better guy. I'm very good at it. Zero says, I've learned far more than I ever should have about the sausage industry just for the sake of conversation here. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Zero's the infinite sausages guy. He really cares about that shit. Dude, so consistent. Exactly the same 2 times. Not too much. Exactly the same 2 times and then too much. Zero says it's like studying quantum mechanics, but only to bring up in conversation. That's kind of real. Kind of real. Fuck. I'm terrible. Being able to save that, it's like I'm learning how to save falls in the Blue Ruins more so than I'm learning how to do the tower. I feel like like I'm actually training for my ability to mitigate falls in the Blue Ruins, which is not really what I want. I want to beat game, but I feel like I have way more experience falling in the Blue Ruins than I do climbing in the tower. And I don't even mean like achieving in the tower. I mean like being in the tower. Fuck. Keep failing that full jump. Just do a full jump, dude. That up too. It's fine. That jump sucks. That one that I just failed sucks because it means that I have to spend an extra 15 seconds. But that's the only difference, is that I have to spend an extra 15 seconds to get where I would have been, which is here, had I just done that jump correctly. Right? That's all that changes. Just it's a little bit of extra time. Fuck. That was a full jump on accident. Dude. Zero says, at least this game doesn't have a condescending man who comments every time you fall. Getting over it with Bennett Foddy isn't, he's not condescending at all. He's trying to lift you up. But, I imagine that there is a Rage game that has that, but I'm not familiar with it. Most Rage games are actually, I would say, like pseudo-meditative rather than actually negative. Most of the time, There's very little negativity actually in the games. Zero says the one Sea Dog VA did, he just rage baits you. Get to work. I saw Pikachu beating Get to Work. And I know that there's dunce hats in it, but I don't remember him like actually speaking down to you or anything, to be honest. But I saw him play like I think literally the entire game, except for like the very beginning. I don't know. I also didn't see him play the DLC at all yet. And I know Connor is the voice over, or the main voiceover at least, in that game. So that could be what you're talking about, or it could be a different one. He is a voice actor after all. Isn't he just Sea Dog now? Didn't he graduate away from VA? Which is a crazy thought. Like, there's someone who was Sea Dog, just Sea Dog, when Connor was Sea Dog VA. Like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's Connor Dog is his main channel. I thought his Twitch was different too. But yeah, it's funny to think about, you know, it's like there's someone out there with, you know, let's see. There's probably someone that has like a number in their name that's like super duper famous. I'm trying not to say like Moist Critical or whatever, because I'm pretty sure that he just doesn't give a shit. Like he wants to be Moist Critical in Penguin Zero or whatever. But you get the idea, right? There's someone who has the name that they obviously were like trying to have in a way. Zero says, my Twitter handle is my name with a 23 at the end because some fucko has my name and has been active since 2012. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to talk about. But like, obviously you're not like the famous Psychotic Zero. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like, you know, you get to be moving and shaking in the space for long enough, you know? Also, no offense. You get what I'm saying. I just meant, like, there are some people that are like, if you Google search just their username, they come up. You know what I'm saying? That kind of famous. And I guess I'm that famous, technically. If you do that Daft Punk Panda with no spaces, you'll get me. That's me. If you do spaces, though, you might not get me. To be honest. I think you might get that song by Panda Bear, which is a remix of Daft Punk. That's really what I mean. It's like, there's a certain amount of fame or whatever that you get from, like SEO, you know? So there's someone out there, or there was someone out there with the name Connor Dog, right? That like, they were like, oh yeah, that's my YouTube or whatever. Oh yeah, I know about Sea Dog VA. No, that's not me. You know what I mean? Like, okay. After a certain point, I feel like you should be like ceding the name to them. Zero says, if you search my name, you get me on Instagram, followed by my Twitch and my Osu profile. That's weird. It's putting up numbers on that Osu shit, you know what I'm saying? Fuck. We'll jump to the left. Oof. Oof. Almost a little too much there. Fuck. Oof. What a landing. Oh god. I'm so consistent. No. I love the consistency. Zero says, I'm glad I did a big rebrand because Kid Me was also trying to be a Twitch streamer and YouTuber. Yeah, I hear you. Zero says, I don't have access to that email anymore, so I can't take the channel down. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. And it's cringe. It's Kringle. It's Christmas Kringle. That was way too much, huh? That was even more than last time. Fuck. Shout out to Christmas Kringle. We failed that jump, so now's the time to lock in. All right, so what? We're like an hour away from EDF. It's plenty of time. How long have we been doing this? 45 minutes? Shit. Zero says, good old Satanius Nikolai. That doesn't sound real. You're talking about Saint Nick? I don't think you should call him Saint Satanius. Doesn't seem right. Zero says, made it up on the spot? Yeah. You can't say that. That's illegal. Zero says only if there are no cops around. It's illegal if there are no cops around? That's strange. That's a strange way for something to be illegal. Fuck. Oh, so close. A little more. A little more. Oh, is that Crash Bandicoot? Shit. Fuck. Zero says it's only illegal if cops are around. Oh, I see. That makes a little more sense. Not as interesting, though. Oh, is that Foxy from FNAF 2? I see. I can't tell the difference between it and any other Foxy. But it does look like Crash Bandicoot, too. But I think that's just because it's an orange triangle-shaped duder. That was a really bad jump. These jumps are full, so there's no reason to ever fail them. Like, jump to the right, jump to the left. You know what I mean? That's it. Jump to the left, jump to the left, jump to the right, jump to the left. That's why I'm like, this is just a time tax. So after a certain point, it's like literally nothing. Zero says, you know what? For me, FNAF games are similar to these. It's just a skill check kind of game. If you know how the game works, I agree. If you don't know how the game works, it's very, very different. Because the AI are very consistent in those games. Like, they work in a consistent way, kind of like Pac-Man. But if you're playing it like an arcade game, again, like Pac-Man, then it's a lot more interesting and a lot less skill-based. A lot more RNG, if that makes sense. If you're not aware of the choices that you're making and how it works or whatever, it feels a lot more, it's a lot more of a game and a lot less of a, you know, predetermined outcome. Zero says, well, like how fast you can learn the mechanics and put them into use. I don't know if everybody learns the mechanics, to be honest. Like, I don't know if you, like, learn specifically how it works. Some of them you have to learn, like Foxy in the first game. But I don't know if you have to know exactly how Chica and Bonnie work. And I think Chica and Bonnie are virtually identical. But Freddy's a little different than the other two. I think. I'm not sure. Just in the first game. I only really know the AI in the first game, for the record. Zero says the longest one that took me to beat was the Ultimate Custom Night 50-20 mode, 50 animatronics all active at once on their highest difficulty setting. Wait, why did I do that? What the fuck? Where am I going? Also, I landed that jump apparently, but yeah, I've been watching. Well, I guess I haven't been watching. I saw that another streamer was playing Ultimate Custom Night recently. But I don't know. I've never been a fan of FNAF personally. Like, I kind of give a shit about the lore, I guess, but only because of game theory. If not for game theory, I wouldn't know anything about FNAF, and I wouldn't care about FNAF literally at all. I have seen a movie, 2 movies actually. I've seen the Nicolas Cage movie and the FNAF movie. But I don't care about either of them. They were fine, I guess. I think I saw them both. I know I saw the Nicolas Cage movie, but I think I saw them both. I guess I would have to check. Really want to say I did. But it's so hard to know that I didn't just like see a bunch of memes. You know? It's not like there was anything that, whoa, oh my god. Zero says I haven't seen the Nick Cage one. It's fine. It's kind of funny in like a Nicolas Cage way. Zero says the Fallout show is pretty good. I wouldn't really know. It's definitely a Savage conversation more so than me. He likes television and also Fallout. I mean, I like Fallout. It's fine, but I'm not like a fan of Fallout. You know what I mean? I mean, in some ways, I feel like I probably am more of a fan than he is because I like worse games than he does, if that makes sense. Like, he's more of a Fallout purist than a fan of Fallout, if that makes sense. Like, I've said many times before, and I'll say it again. I would rather a Fallout 4 2 than no new Fallout game at all. And Savage has gone on the record saying exactly the opposite. He would rather there never be another new Fallout game than Bethesda making another Fallout 4. Like, not like re-releasing Fallout 4. I mean, like, doing Fallout 4 basically just again in a new city or whatever with like new NPCs or whatever. That would not be good enough for him. And that's plenty for me. I don't know. That's just the way I look at it though. But recently they have a big win in the Oblivion remaster. For a while, I don't know. I was worried about them keeping the lights on in Bethesda because they had released basically nothing for the longest. And then finally they did Starfield, and Starfield was not well received. And they did not want to compromise their vision of what that game was in order to make it better received. So when, like, I can respect that. It just means that it's not a very successful game, right? Relatively. I don't know how successful financially it was. It might have been fine financially, but my point being, I was worried about them keeping the lights on because I don't know what their finances were like, and they hadn't released a game in so long, and the game that they had released was only Starfield, which did not do amazing. And but now they have the Oblivion remake, which they didn't make at all, but I do imagine that the money does go to them, right? Like, it's a result of their IP, so they're probably fine now, I would guess, based on nothing mostly. Bethesda publishes the Doom games, which is totally different. The game dev Bethesda is not the same as the publishing arm Bethesda, right? The game studio could shut down and then still publish games is what I'm talking about, right? And that's the concern, right? They could definitely die as a game studio and just license out the Fallout games, particularly to like Obsidian or whatever, and we would be fine, right? But there's also a non-zero chance that Bethesda dies and they're just like, well, I guess nobody likes Fallout games now, you know what I mean? And that's what I would be worried about. I would much rather, like I said, get a Fallout 4 2 than no new Fallout game ever. Or no new Fallout game for 20 or 30 years, I guess would probably be more likely. Because if Bethesda's not doing a Fallout game, then there's probably just not going to be one until they decide to do, you know, 30th anniversary or 20th anniversary of Fallout 4 or whatever, which is probably not even that far away, for real. Probably like 10 years from now or some shit. Zero says, I enjoy Fallout 4, 600 hours and had tons of fun, but at the same time, I understand why people who spent more time playing 3 in New Vegas or even the first 2 would dislike Fallout 4. Sure. Zero says, plus I'm sure that they are sitting on a dragon's pile of cash from every single Skyrim release. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. The way companies work fiscally, right? Unless the thing that they're selling is selling today more than it was selling before, what matters is quarter over quarter growth, right? Like, third quarter this year needs to be better than third quarter last year, every fucking year. If it's not, the company's losing money. Even if they're gaining money, they're losing money. And if they lose money for too many years in a row, quote unquote, lose money for too many years in a row, the studio gets shut down. Doesn't matter if they're making money. Doesn't matter if they're keeping the lights on. That's just not how it works. The way that I perceive it in, you know, like as a consumer, as a person who buys shit without like privileged knowledge, right? If they're not growing, they're losing money, period. which is ridiculous. That's not how reality is, right? But that's how, you know, stocks, that's how shareholders, that's why, you know, Microsoft keeps laying off hundreds of thousands of people or whatever, because it's about making more money every time, all the time, no matter what. Zero says, I feel the same way, but in Elder Scrolls, I'd take a Skyrim 2 Electric Boogaloo than just another Elder Scrolls game. Never get another Elder Scrolls game. I don't think that Bethesda is ever going to stop making Elder Scrolls games, to be honest. I don't think that's going to happen. If they stop being a studio, sure, but short of that, they're never going to stop. I could see them not making Fallout games or other types of games. I think that they genuinely do care about Elder Scrolls more than they care about anything else. And I'm not saying that they don't care about other stuff. They probably do, but I think that Elder Scrolls is like the central pillar that Bethesda. I think without Elder Scrolls, there is no Bethesda. Zero says, if Microsoft shuts down Bethesda before we get Elder Scrolls 6, I might have to pull a Cyberpunk and pick the third option, Storm Arasaka alone. Good luck. They would only do that if they had basically no other choice, right? Like, it's very unlikely that that would happen. I feel like they would much rather step in and like orchestrate Elder Scrolls 6, because even the Oblivion remaster did really well, right? Like, there's no reason for Microsoft to like poo-poo on Bethesda unless they're just destroying, you know, their budget. If they're just hemorrhaging money, which could be happening, right? Totally could be. But I feel like it's much more likely that they're going to step in and take over, do a Metal Gear Survive, right? Rather than just let the franchise completely die. Shout out to Konami. I didn't do enough. I saw that it wasn't enough, and then I did even less. Fool. Zero says people love their Elder Scrolls games. People love Fallout games too. And the Fallout IP has never been stronger than it is now with the TV show. So they're definitely going to do a new Fallout something, but it's going to be a while. And that's the problem. I would much rather they had a different studio working on it, because I feel like Obsidian, which is owned by Microsoft, would do, honestly, a better job with a Fallout game, straight up. And I think that the reason that Avowed and shit haven't done as well as they should have is because they aren't using the IP that they should be using, and the systems that are familiar to that IP and all that shit. I think that they should just let Obsidian be basically a sub-developer for Bethesda titles, particularly the Fallout franchise. Like, and I'm not the first person to say this, right? Like, this isn't a crazy novel thing that I'm coming up with. And I don't mind Obsidian, right? Obsidian can do other stuff too. They're doing Grounded 2, they're doing the Outer Worlds 2, excuse me. That's fine. But like, the Outer Worlds, to me, it's just supposed to be Fallout. It's just supposed to be Fallout. It's Fallout in space, but it's just supposed to be Fallout. And now they don't need to pretend to be Fallout anymore. They can just make a new Fallout game, and you know, it'll be Fallout New Vegas 2, right? And it'll be fine, right? People are gonna fucking buy it in gangbusters, even if the game is dog shit. If you just say it's Fallout New Vegas 2 with the right promotional material or whatever, it's gonna sell like fucking hotcakes, right? And the only reason that Bethesda wouldn't do that is because Bethesda has a lot of fucking pride, as I understand it. I'm not sure that that's true, but the word through the grapevine is that they have a lot of fucking pride, and they hate the fact that New Vegas is probably the best regarded Fallout game of all time, right? Even though since New Vegas, they've made Fallout 4, which they wanted to be the new darling, and people just don't like 4 like they like New Vegas. Not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people. And I don't know if that's a real thing or if that's just the community, the cultural zeitgeist implanting that in my mind. I do know that Todd Howard is a pretty vain guy, and his vision is pretty strong in the Bethesda space, but I don't know if he specifically has animosity towards New Vegas, right? Because that's just, you know, people saying shit. It's not like real reporting. Zero says, then I'd honestly say even Fallout 76 is putting numbers on the board now. The last 2 years of content have been pretty good. Sure, its release was abysmal, but it's fine now. Yeah, it definitely has gone through a bit of a butterfly, you know, phase. Zero says Obsidian's comprised of the OG Fallout devs, right? Interplay. Not totally. A lot of them have moved on, but the core of the team, yes. Interplay became Obsidian, right? And by virtue of that, there is that cultural through line, though I don't know of how many people are the same. You know, we can go through the, you know, credits and like determine that. Like say how much of you know, Obsidian percentage wise comes from Interplay directly. Like you can definitely do the math and figure that out. Game credits exist, right? I don't know what the current dev, you know, team looks like in Obsidian. I don't know how you would really do that without looking at just their more recent games, but you can definitely compare and just see. And I think that would be a worthwhile audit, to be honest, but it's just not something that I'm gonna do anytime soon. Zero says, yeah, legit. You put any Fallout in New Vegas and in the New Vegas setting, and fans will eat it up. Definitely, unless you fuck up in some tremendous way. I think that everybody's going to do it, and even if you fuck up in some tremendous way, shout out to Splitgate 2. I think that most people will still try it. To be honest, I feel like most of the fans are interested in buying a new Fallout New Vegas game. Zero says, I think Fallout 4 would have done better if they made your playable character more of a blank slate. Zero says, making him a character with his own backstory and goals took away from what makes Fallout fun. I don't know. When it comes to a game appealing to Fallout players, you typically want a blank slate. But when you're making a game that appeals to people who play video games, it's very different. Very, very different. You can have a blank slate character do extremely well. Shout out to Skyrim. But I think that when it comes to the general gaming space, you typically want, you know, John Halo, right? As far as like a game to do extremely, extremely well. So it depends on who they're trying to sell the game to, right? And that speaks to like the voice acting in the game, right? The game being voice acted, Fallout 4 having a voiced protagonist, makes a huge difference for how likely people are to like sit through the game and play it that wouldn't otherwise play a Fallout anything, right? An RPG anything. But that doesn't make it a better game necessarily, and it definitely doesn't make it appeal to the people who are like the strongest, most advocate fans of Fallout, right? The people who love Fallout the very most would definitely want an unvoiced protagonist if they got in exchange, you know, fucking an extra 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 lines of dialogue voiced by the main character. Not voiced, but you get what I'm saying. If it allows them to get, you know, 10 times the dialogue, then they're going to do that over a voice character every single fucking time. No doubt. They're like, voice character, we can do that in the mods. You know what I mean? We can do mods for that. We don't need you, Bethesda, to make the character voiced. We don't give a shit about that. But that's like my opinion, man. Full jump. So, okay, so it's just a real rock. Full jump. You did it. Zero says, yippee, GG's. And we totally did it. Oh, thanks for the crown. Wow. Zero says, season 2 of the TV show is taking place in New Vegas. Yeah. Zero says, so I know season 2 is going to make money. I even think Skyrim rides the line. Because at the end of the day, you're the special chosen one, Final Dragonborn. Yes. I think that there's a lot more freedom in... Did I just look up her skirt? That's crazy. I think there's a lot more freedom in Skyrim than there is in Fallout, for sure, right? And I think that the voiced protagonist is a part of that. Even though the only thing that you can do in Skyrim realistically with regards to like engaging with NPCs in the greater space is just saying, I want to do this quest, I don't want to do this quest. I think it still allows for a lot more freedom, and the approaches to gameplay feels a lot more varied too. Fallout has some, don't get it twisted, but it doesn't feel as much just because the magic system and stuff in Skyrim feels a lot more, it feels like it has a lot more options, right? And the stealth is better and, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, again, you know. But yeah, we did it. That wasn't bad at all. Total of 1 hour and 5 minutes. Grand total, we'll check the stats. Oh, whoa, look at the art. Fantastic. So a total of 37 hours. That's fucking terrible. 64,000 jumps, 5,000 falls. Completed on attempt 1, session 18. So if you take it session-wise, that's like 2 hours a session. That's not that bad. If you look at it that way. Serena says hot babe. Yeah, true. It's a hot babe acquired. You guys were here. Say hello, YouTube. Now's your last chance. I'm going to end the VOD. Zero says, I also think becoming the leader of factions is stupidly easy in Fallout 4. 20 minutes after you meet Preston, he's trying to make you the leader. Whereas in Skyrim, they make you do 5 to 6 hour quests, make you work for the title. Sort of, yes. Skyrim, I feel like, is a way worse example. I feel like Oblivion did a better job, and I think Morrowind did an even better job, but I don't remember the factions in Morrowind. I'm going to be honest. I literally just don't remember. But if I had to, going by what I do remember about Morrowind, I've beaten Morrowind before, right? But I just like played through the game. I didn't like do all there is to do. When I play like a Skyrim or an Oblivion, I do like the entire quest line for all the side stuff. You know what I mean? Like I do the whole fucking thing. Whereas Morrowind, it's a lot more open feeling and a lot less, this is the faction storyline or whatever. Zero says, I can't talk on Oblivion because when I played it on 360, I was like 6 and it doesn't work on modern hardware. So I don't have the money, and I don't have the money for the remake yet. I'm going to play the Oblivion remake, almost definitely. I'm definitely playing Skyrim because I wanted to play it because of Warren asking for it. Like I'm going to play Pokemon too. Gur asked for that. So we're going to do those. Everybody gets one, I guess. But yeah, that'll be it for this. Goodbye. Goodbye, VOD.